Your stomach remembers eating, even when your mind completely forgets it. You stop during the day and suddenly wonder if you already had a meal. You search the last few hours, but no clear memory of eating appears. You know you probably ate something, yet the moment feels strangely missing. For many men, this tiny memory blank can feel surprisingly confusing. How can your brain forget something you physically did only hours ago? It is easy to wonder if these moments mean your memory is getting weaker. But forgetting that you ate may have little to do with memory failure. Psychology reveals that the real explanation begins with your attention. And what happened during that forgotten meal may completely surprise you. Eating a meal does not always mean your brain creates a strong memory that it happened. Your brain first needs enough attention before an ordinary experience becomes a memory. Psychologists call this selective encoding because your mind chooses what gets stored. Routine meals often receive less attention because your brain already knows the pattern. The same breakfast or lunch can feel too familiar to deserve much mental processing. Your body keeps eating normally while your attention quietly moves somewhere else. Without focused attention, the meal receives very few details that memory can use later. This explains why you can finish eating and later wonder whether you actually ate at all. An unusual dinner feels different because novelty naturally pulls your attention toward it. You remember the restaurant because your brain noticed details that broke the normal routine. Ordinary meals often disappear because almost nothing makes that moment mentally distinctive. The strange truth is your meal may not have been forgotten after being strongly remembered. Your brain may simply have created such a weak memory that finding it later becomes difficult. But routine alone cannot explain why some men experience these strange blanks more often. The deeper answer begins with where their minds were while their bodies continued eating. Your body can finish an entire meal while your attention is living somewhere else entirely. You may be eating normally while your mind keeps solving problems from earlier in the day. Work deadlines and future plans can quietly become more important than the food before you. Psychologists call this divided attention because awareness is split between different tasks. Familiar actions like eating can continue automatically without requiring your full awareness. Your hands know the routine so well that your conscious mind barely needs to supervise them. This is similar to driving home and realizing you remember almost nothing about the journey. The action happened normally, but your attention was focused on thoughts instead of details. Memory follows whatever receives attention, rather than recording every action your body makes. So your brain may clearly remember the problem you were thinking about, but not your lunch. This creates a strange gap between physically doing something and mentally experiencing it. You finish the meal, yet your brain collected very few clues proving the moment happened. Later hunger can make you question whether you actually ate because the memory feels unclear. And this strange pattern becomes even stronger when your mind is carrying too much at once. That invisible mental burden reveals the deeper reason ordinary meals can disappear so easily. The forgotten meal often begins with an invisible mental load carried throughout the day. Many men reach lunchtime while their minds are still processing unfinished responsibilities. Work and money and family concerns can compete for the same limited space inside attention. Psychologists call this cognitive load because working memory can only handle so much at once. When mental demands become heavy, the brain begins deciding what deserves priority right now. An ordinary meal can quickly become background activity while important thoughts take control. Your body continues eating while your working memory remains occupied with unfinished problems. The brain naturally returns to unresolved concerns because they still appear important to solve. This leaves fewer mental resources available for noticing and remembering simple daily events. Stress can intensify this pattern by keeping attention focused on what might happen next. Even peaceful meals can become silent planning sessions without you consciously noticing it. The meal ends normally, but your brain creates only a weak record that the event even happened. Hours later, you may feel hungry and genuinely question whether you already ate something. This uncertainty can reveal more about how occupied your attention was than your memory strength. And the reason your brain allows ordinary meals to disappear is even more surprising. Your brain was never designed to preserve every ordinary moment that happens during the day. Memory constantly filters experiences by deciding what seems useful enough to keep for later. Novelty and emotion naturally receive more attention because they may contain new information. Routine meals rarely offer anything unexpected, so the brain gives them much less priority. This is why a special birthday dinner can remain vivid while yesterday's lunch disappears. The difference is not always the food, but the meaning your brain connected with the moment. Psychologists call this meaningful encoding because significance strengthens memory formation. Distinct experiences create stronger mental clues that make remembering them easier afterward. Ordinary meals often blend together because they share the same places and familiar routines. Your brain may save mental energy by refusing to record every repeated experience in detail. So forgetting whether you ate does not automatically mean your memory is becoming weaker. The meal may simply have lacked enough meaning and attention to create a strong mental record. What feels like forgetfulness can sometimes reflect the brain filtering familiar information. Understanding this can transform a worrying memory blank into something far less mysterious. And once you know what memory needs, you can make ordinary meals surprisingly hard to forget. Remembering whether you ate becomes easier when you give your brain clear details to notice. Looking at your food before eating can help attention register that the meal is happening. Putting your phone away prevents outside information from competing with the experience. Simply naming what you are eating can create another mental clue for your brain to retrieve. Noticing the smell of your food gives the meal a sensory marker that can remain afterward. Paying attention to flavor and texture makes an ordinary meal feel more mentally distinct. The more senses you involve, the more pathways your brain can use to find the memory later. Eating with someone can also make the moment more meaningful and easier to remember clearly. Even changing where you eat can sometimes separate one routine meal from many similar ones. Psychologists know that distinctive experiences often create stronger retrieval cues later. The goal is not forcing your memory, because attention must build the memory before recall. Reducing distractions gives working memory more space to record that the meal actually happened. Small moments of awareness can prevent an entire meal from disappearing into automatic routine. Once attention stays with the experience, your brain receives stronger evidence that you ate. And this simple change reveals something important about why everyday memories disappear. Forgetting if you already ate does not automatically mean your memory is becoming weaker. Remember that attention shapes memories long before you ever try to recall them later. Your brain protects meaningful experiences while allowing familiar routines to fade away. A forgotten meal may simply reveal where your attention was living while you were eating. Your mind could have been solving tomorrow while today's meal quietly disappeared behind you. Understanding this pattern can replace unnecessary worry with a clearer view of memory. You can begin seeing these small blanks as clues about attention rather than signs of decline. Sometimes what you forget reveals exactly what your brain considered important that day. The meal you cannot remember may teach you more about attention than remembering ever could. Subscribe for more psychology behind the strange everyday behaviors many men experience.